Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us on episode 24 of Health Talk with Dr. Kel. We are in the middle of a 4-part series discussing sugar inside and outside the body. We talked about how sugar damages the gut microbiome and contributes to leaky gut syndrome and inflammation throughout the digestive tract. Last week, we talked about sugar, fructose, and how it affects the liver. Sugar can be just as damaging to the liver as alcohol and can lead to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This week, we'll discuss sugar, glucose, and how it affects the brain. It can cause inflammation in the brain, leading to slowed cognitive function, mood disorders such as depression, and deficits in memory. Sugar has a drug-like effect in the reward center of the brain. It can become a food addiction for some, and others may develop obesity and diabetes as a result. Reward. A thing given in recognition of one's service, effort, or achievement. It feels good to be rewarded. Sometimes sugar can feel like a reward to us. So much of our world is celebrated through food. And sugary treats are so pretty. They make everything seem sparkly. They can lift us up when we're depressed. And then, when the sugar crash happens, we go lower than when we started. Oops, not such a great idea. And if we could control it, we would. But some of us have an addiction that we need help with breaking. And that's what we're here to do. Help you. Welcome, everybody, to Health Talk with Dr. Kel. I'm Nikki Sterner, and I have Dr. Kel and producer Eric here today. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nikki.
All right, so we are in the sugar series, and today it's podcast number 24, and we're talking about sugar and the brain. But before we get to that, I wanted to start with our quote. For every reason it's not possible, there are hundreds of people who have faced the same circumstances and succeeded. And this is by Jack Canfield. So when you think you can't quit the sugar, like I do,
You can, Nikki.
you can.
Because others
So I'm
have.
telling myself, I can do this.
And I like that saying, whether you think you can or you can't, you're probably
You're right. That's right. That's a good one, too. Yeah.
Henry Ford, right?
Is that who it is? How do you know that?
It was a big billboard I used to drive by all the time.
Oh, my gosh. Really? That's funny.
Very good, Nikki. Well, we'll get right into this.
Okay.
Negative impact of sugar on the brain.
Huh?
Joel Furman, MD.
She's losing it.
Sorry, I had sugar today. Just
Yes.
kidding.
Yes. She just pulled out some candy out of her
shut
purse.
The one thing I have in my purse is
Yes.
gobstoppers.
Okay.
Clean out
I have a
your purse
problem.
and throw it away.
Here's what he has to say. The brain uses more energy than any other organ in the human body, and glucose is its primary source of fuel. But what happens when the brain is exposed to an excessive amount of sugars in the standard American diet? In this case, more is definitely not better. In the brain, excess sugar impairs both our cognitive skills and our self-control.
I feel that. Yes.
You know how you know how alcohol just people do all kinds of strange things when they're
Yeah.
on alcohol. You can do all kinds of strange things on sugar too.
True.
For many people, having a little sugar stimulates a craving for more. Sugar has drug-like effects in the reward center of the brain. Scientists have proposed that sweet foods, along with salty and fatty foods, can produce addiction-like effects in the human brain, driving the loss of self-control, overeating, and subsequent weight gain. The brain uses more energy than any other organ in the brain, as we already said.
The brain in the brain.
So does that mean that if I think real hard, I can lose weight? My brain is working so hard.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
I can think about working out really hard.
Actually, now you laugh at that, but
Envision.
okay, I'm going to share something with the audience that I'm absolutely recommending no one ever do. Okay?
Okay.
A few years back, several years back, this was probably going on 20 years ago, I wanted to lose a little weight. So I thought, what if I
We're just going.
eat nothing but sugar
Oh, jeez.
for a week?
Oh, man.
I lost 10
Just
pounds.
Spoonfuls of
What?
sugar.
I lost 10 pounds.
You mean you just ate white
in
sugar?
a little over a week, I lost 10 pounds. No. But what I did
Marathon.
was I did eat some fruits. I didn't eat any vegetables, but I mainly ate candy.
What?
Yes, and drank soda. I felt like crap. Totally felt like crap. Felt terrible by near that time. But
Oh
I
my
lost
gosh.
weight. And the reason, and I wouldn't say I ate it in excess. I was drinking I drank soda, but I did drink water too. But when you're just eating that one thing, I was also doing a lot of work. I was writing a lot of reports. The brain uses a ton amount of energy. And so I was burning a lot of calories just thinking. I didn't do any exercise during that time either, but I was having very little fat, very little protein. Worst kind of diet you could ever go on. And I've seen diets out there where you just go on a straight fruit diet, and you can lose weight that way too, but I don't know that that's a real intelligent way to do it either.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm
So again,
confessing.
don't try it, huh?
I'm confessing my sins here on the show. Do not do that at home. I'm a perfect example of what not to do sometimes.
We've tried it all here.
Yes.
I feel like this podcast is becoming a bunch of confessions here.
We're not
At
perfect.
least when we're talking about sugar here.
But we've gotten
Let's
better.
see. The sugar's reward response is part of this article as well. In humans, high glycemic foods have been found to activate regions of the brain associated with the reward response and provoke more intense feelings of hunger compared to low glycemic foods. Foods that cause a higher elevation in blood glucose produce a greater addictive drive in the brain. Hence what we were talking about, the dopamine. Additional studies on brain activity have provided evidence supporting the idea that overeating alters our brain's reward system, which then further drives overeating. The same process is thought to underlie the tolerance associated with addiction. These are just reinforcing what's happening. Other studies have shown that the brain over time, just like with the effects of alcohol, sugars can cause shrinking of the brain, especially the gray matter. So I remember when I was a kid, they used to say marijuana makes you stupid. In fact, when I was in college, they called marijuana, oftentimes when people were in it, having conversation, they just called it stupid. Hey, let's go have some stupid kind of thing. Well, alcohol does that, and so does sugar. Makes you stupid. So not only does it make you fat, it can make you stupid.
You were saying that it changes your behavior sometimes too?
Yes.
Well, let me just tell you, when Breezy, my middle child, tends to have a lot of sugar, she starts doing weird things. And I can see a change in her behavior, and she does she almost provokes people in a fun way, but yet it really irritates people. Whereas other times she's aware that she's shouldn't be doing that. But she it's like a switch flipped off in her brain, and she's like, ha ha, look out everybody, I'm on sugar. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, it causes the brain to become overactive, just like with the ADA and the HDAD and all that stuff. The brain is basically on fire.
Yeah, that's what it's
An
like.
overabundance of glucose in the brain.
I've never done that. I don't know where she gets it, but
Your purse, probably.
yeah, my purse.
Okay, we talked about this a little bit earlier too. Over time, greater amounts of the substance are required to reach the same level of reward. So we talked
like
about how
drugs.
you become tolerant to the
Yeah.
dopamine, which is what your brain gets after you eat a bunch of sugar initially. Studies imply that overeating results in a diminished reward response and a progressively worsening addiction to low nutrient foods rich in sugar, salt, and fat. So it causes you to eat more. It actually baits the appetite too. It's like your appetite center is activated so that it causes you to be more hungry and continue eating,
Yeah.
and hence you gain weight. And a study published in PLOS One found that sweet foods can be more addictive than cocaine. And we talked about cocaine not being that addictive previously. So that's interesting. Though the research was performed on animals, investigators found that intense sweetness can surpass cocaine reward even in drug-sensitized and addicted individuals. So your brain can shrink. Oh, here's the next one. Memory and sugar, which is still involved with the brain, right? Any questions about what we previously
No, but I have
spoke
some. After you read this, I have something.
I was going to say something too, but go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's after this part,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
How sugar impacts memory. Throughout the body, excess sugar is harmful. Even a single instance of elevated glucose in the bloodstream can be harmful to the brain, resulting in slowed cognitive function and deficits in memory and attention, hence my experience with taking a test and drinking the soda. Some research suggests high sugar consumption causes inflammation in the brain, leading to memory difficulties. A 2016 study published in Behavioral Brain Research found inflammatory markers were present in the hippocampus of rats fed a high sugar diet, but not in those fed a standard diet. The good news, however, is this inflammatory damage from sugar may not be permanent. A 2017 study in the Journal of Appetite found that the memory damage caused by sugar consumption can be reversed by following a low-sugar, low-GI diet.
G.I. Joe.
Oh, glycemic index is probably what they're meaning by that one.
Oh.
Low glycemic index, which is a low lower sugar diet. By the way, just as a note there with diets, like the Atkins diet, the first 2 weeks you're allowed 15 grams of sugar a day.
Which is roughly half the recommended.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Or is that milligrams? You know what?
Probably
Never mind.
probably
Cut that. I'm
grams.
going to have to look that up
Okay.
because it's a very low amount of sugar, and then you can take it up to the normal levels, although there are so many varying.
Wait, just for our U.S. listeners, because I'm learning the metric system here. 10 milligrams is equal to 0.1 grams, because 15 milligrams is nothing compared to a gram of sugar, and the FDA recommends 25 or less.
1 gram is 1,000 milligrams.
Yeah, so 15 milligrams.
Oh, yeah, that's
That'd
like
be
nothing.
impossible.
It's a small amount.
That'd be like
It's a very
a banana
small amount.
slice.
So yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll look that up and
Okay.
share that next
Okay.
time. Okay, let's see. In addition, research published in the Journal Nutrients in 2015 found reducing sugar consumption and supplementing with omega-3 fatty acids and curcumin, which is
Turmeric.
turmeric. Yep, very good, Nikki. Improves working memory.
A+.
So, and we can do a whole thing on turmeric sometime too. Most people don't realize that when they take turmeric, it's usually out of the body within an hour or two.
Wow.
So you need to
don't
get.
overdose.
Well, no,
Slow
you,
release.
to really get a benefit from the kind of turmeric you'd buy in the grocery store or at Costco or other places, at least from what I'm aware of, it's out of the body. Those pills you take in the morning within a couple hours are gone. There are companies like Standard Process that their turmeric is mixed with things like fenugreek and other substances that slow down the absorption of the turmeric, so it's kind of almost like a time released, and it'll last 10 to 12 hours in your body.
Nice.
So, good to know.
I'm still new to the turmeric. What's the benefits of that in your body?
It's anti-inflammatory.
Okay.
And so in that instance with the brain, along with the omega-3 fatty acids, if the sugar's causing the brain to swell, it's helping to reduce that swelling.
Okay. So you're going to mention something, Nikki?
Oh, okay. So sugar impacting memory. So for one of my acting classes, it's a Joe Kelly acting class. She said no sugar before class or no sugar before auditions or anything like that because number one, it dulls your emotions, which you need for your auditions, and obviously it affects your brain and memory too. So
Well, and
Yeah.
here's a good part. Here's another article talking about the same kind of thing. It says sugar, how it affects its effects on mood.
oh yeah.
Makes you
Oh,
depressed
for
or happy.
sure.
Okay.
It's so interesting watching my kids crash after eating sugar. Like when my parents come to town, they give them all this random stuff, and like the crash is hard. Like 2 hours later, they're just like angry and yelling at each other. And I'm like, dang sugar.
Yeah, and usually the sugar like gives them a burst of energy
Yeah.
and then just a
Yeah.
big high, and that's the insulin.
Yeah.
Because you take a whole bunch of sugar that's assimilated very quickly, overloads the bloodstream and the brain, and then your pancreas reacts by producing a ton of insulin,
Yeah.
and usually over abundance of insulin. So then it lowers that sugar content, and then you're stuck with the insulin, and that's when you crash.
Yeah. So yeah, my kids after dinner are like, "We've been good today. We want a treat." And it's like, "Oh, it's like 8:00. We give you all this sugar, then you're gonna be up for another 2 hours." And yeah, you gotta like plan it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sugar also affects mood. In healthy young people, the ability to process emotion is compromised with elevated blood glucose, according to a brain imaging study. So they actually saw this on imaging. Another study published in Diabetics Care found that people with type 2 diabetes reported increased feelings of sadness and anxiety during acute hyperglycemia episodes. And hyperglycemia would be too much sugar in the blood, so that they're not producing enough insulin to bring them down. And so they saw the effects. And anxiety, if you're someone out there who has a lot of problems with depression, I will bet you in 98% of the people out there who are suffering depression, they're eating a high sugar diet. High fat and high sugar combined. They're eating the fast foods, they're having the processed foods, they're drinking the sodas. Those are all contributing to depression.
Sometimes when I have too much chocolate, my mood will go south like really fast.
Yeah.
It's like a weird
While you're
switch in my
still
brain.
on it, or
Well,
after you've crashed.
While I'm still, well, maybe it's on the crash, but yeah, it's
Probably
like
during the downside, because
Yeah.
typically chocolate will temporarily give you
Elevate.
that feeling of euphoria. A lot of people eat chocolate because it makes them feel good temporarily. A lot of people eat food because it makes them feel good temporarily. But same kind of thing, and then you have that downside, because chocolate, depending if you eat dark chocolate, is the best chocolate, and I would recommend 80% dark chocolate or more. You can find it out there, even 90+%. But it's not very sweet at all. It's bitter. It doesn't taste
Makes you
as
not want to
great.
eat it.
But
Yeah.
even, I don't know, I'm a weird one though. Like, if I have too much dark chocolate, it does the same thing. It's
Oh,
like
really?
it's like a, I don't know if it's a
What
caffeine
percentage?
thing or
Well, the
it might be caffeine.
Caffeine could be
Yeah.
doing it to you too.
Because it's like if I eat too
Caffeine
many
causes
days in a row
anxiety.
chocolate,
Caffeine causes anxiety.
Yeah.
So yes.
could be the combination, sugar and caffeine.
See, here's another one. One of the largest studies to link sugar with depression, an analysis of dietary consumption and mood of 23,245 individuals enrolled in the Whitehall 2 study found higher rates of sugar consumption was associated with a greater incidence of depression. See, another study, the study published in 2017 in the Journal of Scientific Reports, found those with the highest level of sugar consumption were 23% more likely to be diagnosed with a mental disorder than those with the lowest sugar intake.
So it's almost like you get down and then you think, oh, this will make me feel better. So then you eat sugar. And then it's like cycle, like up and then down and then up and then down. And the highs get higher and the lows get lower. And it's like a vicious cycle, right? So if you can kind of keep it in in the middle area where you're just doing a little bit.
Constantly fed sugar.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
You know,
Just
the idea
IV line of sugar.
the other thing I would say I've done over the last almost 8 weeks is, and this is recommended for most people. I don't know if I totally agree with the whole idea that we were once living in caves. Maybe we were, but periodically after nuclear holocaust, who knows? Anyway, my point is that hunter-gatherers were referred to as people who would piecemeal throughout the day, and that our American diet is a lot of people don't eat breakfast and they eat a large lunch and they eat a large dinner, or maybe they just eat the 3 meals throughout the day. But intermittent meals, like 6 times a day, small amounts, is far better for you than eating large amounts.
So not 6 McDonald's meals.
Well, just if you eat the French fries, or just if you eat the cheeseburger, or just if you drink the
Just
soda,
have half
maybe
of
it's a
it.
little. You could buy the whole thing, all 3, and eat one part at different
Yes,
times.
exactly.
Or eat 2 happy
One
meals.
Happy Meal.
How about 2 happy meals, and then you'd come up with six different things, and then you could eat them once every 2 hours, whatever.
Or the dollar menu.
Yeah.
I think your
There's
point,
so-
though, and I've read this before too, is your problem is if you eat lunch, let's say at noon, and then you don't eat till 5 or 6 at night at dinner, you're starving, so you're going to eat twice the portion you probably should have, and you're going to
Yeah.
overeat, and then you're going to go to bed on this full stomach. However, if you would have eaten at noon, and then 2, you're continuing your digestive, which is healthy to keep it going.
I always tell people if they're in my office talking to me about going on a diet that if you can stop eating by 6 p.m., it doesn't matter what you eat during the day.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
if you stop eating by 6 p.m., you'll typically start to lose weight just because you've used up a lot of that energy, the calories that you've eaten throughout the day, and then your body burns a lot of calories while you're sleeping. I mean, people typically use 2 to 3 pounds while they're asleep. Think about it; it's a third of your day. It's not uncommon for me to get on the scale before I go to bed and be 3 pounds lighter in the morning. Yes, So, and the other problem with eating large amounts, every few hours is you get this big, huge influx of calories. Your body cannot utilize it all at once, so it starts storing what it can't use, and then all of a sudden you're become hypoglycemic, or you're almost in a state of temporary fasting. And whenever you hit the fasting cycle, except maybe when you're Mr. Mickelson,
That was last week's episode, in case you missed it.
your body holds on to your fat stores when you're in a fasting state for a time, because it's like, okay, we got that fat store, we got to hold on to it. In fact, you will start scavenging or burning up your protein. Your actual muscle will begin being used for energy before your fat will under certain circumstances.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
And so if you're trying to be a bodybuilder, that's not the thing you want to do.
That's right.
Sugar intake hinders mental capacity, which we've already kind of talked about. It says elevated blood glucose. I should have you read these, Nikki. Elevated
You're
blood
doing great.
glucose harms blood vessels. Blood vessels are important. Blood vessel damage is the major cause of the vascular complications of diabetes, leading to other problems such as damage to blood vessels in the brain and eye retinopathy.
So you can go blind.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Are you scared of sugar yet, Nikki?
This is opening my eyes.
Studies of long-term diabetics show progressive brain damage leading to deficits in learning, memory, motor speed, and other cognitive functions. Frequent exposure to high, I know, some of my patients are type 2 diabetics, and I'm constantly telling, I have one patient who we've tried to put her on cleanses and get her, she'll take the supplements, but she won't do the body cleanses. And she won't stop eating the junk. And you hear that dog barking in the background.
He's wanting some sugar.
He's on some sugar.
There he is.
No doubt. Anyway.
Oh, not him.
Anyway, the point is, a lot of people don't realize if they're diabetic, all these other problems that can develop if they don't change that diet and don't lose some of that weight.
So let's recap some of these. So you got obesity, your brain shrinking, blindness, mobile limitations.
You become stupid.
Yeah, doesn't it affect your feet too?
Oh, yeah, well, the circulation. Yeah,
Fat feet,
late onset
kinkles.
diabetes, and we're just talking about that damage to the blood vessels.
Yeah.
And so now what happens is the valves in the varicose veins are like a precursor to that in a way. And I would say those tend to be tied to sugar too, though I haven't read any research articles. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
Because they very well could be tied to varicose veins too, because if it's damaging the vessels, the valves in the veins, which keep the blood flowing back to the heart, the valves become weak and let the blood pool, hence the varicose veins, superficial veins, you start seeing them in your legs.
So you're saying lettuce doesn't hinder them? Lettuce and tomatoes and vegetables,
Probably
cauliflower,
not.
broccoli.
All that good stuff can
Those are
help
good.
with that, improving that vascular health. The B vitamins
too.
are big in vascular health.
Too.
Gummy flavored lettuce.
Yes. Frequent exposure to high glucose levels diminishes mental capacity, as high HbA1c levels have been associated with a greater degree of brain shrinkage, as we mentioned before. Even in those without diabetes, high sugar consumption is associated with lower scores on tests of cognitive function. These effects are thought to be due to a combination of hyperglycemia, hypertension, insulin resistance, and elevated cholesterol. Additional research shows that a diet high in added sugar reduces the production brain-derived neurotrophic factor BDNF, a brain chemical essential for new memory formation and learning. Lower levels of BDNF are also linked to dementia and Alzheimer's disease, according to a study published in the Journal of Diabetology.
Diabetology.
Something like that. There you go. Anyway.
So, Eric, you summarized it really well, how sugar is affecting the whole body, the brain, obviously the moods with depression and inflammation in the brain. I wonder sometimes if you have too much sugar, if it causes headaches.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Most headaches are caused from increased and decreased circulation to the brain. So taking sugar already talked about inflammation when you have too much sugar. So that's causing swelling the brain, which is increasing the fluid to the brain. So
And I talked about that last time with my soda experience. Getting off of it can cause massive headaches too.
Oh,
and
withdrawal.
Yeah, withdrawals.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that you wanted to cover with sugar in the brain?
Next one is sugar on the outside of the body.
Interesting. That's one place I don't put it. So,
Rub those
I should
candy
be
bars
good.
all over your body. Nikki.
I definitely go inside the body with mine, but hey,
So
Don't
looking
drink
forward
the
to hearing
bathwater.
that. Yeah.
podcast 25, sugar on the outside of the body and its effects. And this is good news, Nikki.
It's good news?
It can actually be good for you in certain ways.
That's probably why I'm not doing it. No, I'm just kidding.
We're not completely anti-sugar then. Okay.
No, and I joke around about my sugar. I don't know if I'm really an addict, but I'm a perfectionist.
did you want a
so part
doctor's
of me,
opinion?
part of me wants to know, part of me wants to be perfect, and so I'm like, I should really cut that out. It's like the one thing that I like, and
Where's your person, Nikki? I'd like to take that sugar out of that, the candy
that's
out
been
of
in there for a while. I will let you know.
Oh, okay.
That's been in there for a long time.
Well, that's a sign of
The
not being an
gobstoppers.
addict,
So,
an alcoholic, carries around a little
Just for that.
pint of alcohol to prove that he doesn't need it.
That's right.
That's kind of what you're doing.
that's
huh?
been in there for a while. That's from Halloween.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
2010.
Yeah, not like you. It didn't go well. It's probably going bad, but
Sugar
Okay.
levels is
Well,
potency.
we will believe you for now.
yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We're gonna test your blood sugar level next week. And see
Yeah.
where you
That's a
are.
good idea.
That's a
we
good
can
idea.
bring in the test strips.
I would like that.
Yeah, we
I
can.
really would. Yes. When I feel like I've had too much sugar, I just go have my soup that I make. That's like chicken and vegetables, and it has turmeric and ginger freshly juiced in it, and I do feel better. So
Throw some gummy worms. in
That's
there.
a fix for
Sounds
me.
Delicious.
no, I don't ruin it with that.
Awesome. So in the
Yes.
end, we always try to bring it back to what can you do to help yourself and resolve your problems from what we're talking about, and this one I think is pretty obvious. Stop eating the processed sugar, reduce it. Stop eating the processed foods, reduce the sugar intake, eat more vegetables, fruits and vegetables, and good grains, and the wild caught fish.
A big one. Just read the label, right? You guys probably don't
Yes.
even realize the sugar you're putting in your body without reading that label.
Oh, and everything, every can of soup, every can. I mean, everything, they add sugar to it. And think about it. We talked before about always going back to the money. It's all intended people in the food industry, those that create the processed foods, the microwave foods, the things in the packages, the breads, everything, they're using the knowledge that sugar and fat and MSG and other substances make you want more. And so why wouldn't you want, I need to make you want more, because then you'll come buy more from me and I'll make more money.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because I do want more when I eat that. I bought it, hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, yeah. Addictive behavior is encouraged in America.
Yeah.
And until some group out there, like those that are working on, stop people from smoking and stop the alcoholism and all these things, these other things we've just learned to accept in our society.
Yeah.
But the time is coming where more and more people, as you become educated, you learn more and more to change your way of life, and changing those ways will actually help you be happier and healthier, live longer, and live a better quality of life. So consider that. You know, if you're just living for today,
Eat, drink, and be merry. Right?
eat, drink, and be merry. That's
And
good.
it's so true, though, because, like, when I have a salad with chicken and stuff, I am totally satisfied after I eat it. I don't crave more. And if I have, healthy foods like the salmon that I overcooked, before, and cauliflower rice, you don't crave more. You're done and you're satisfied. Your body got what it needed. You're good.
Well, it's interesting, since I've been doing this for the past almost 8 weeks, I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
Not near as hungry.
You don't crave as much.
I can eat an apple or even a piece of fish, and periodically, like I say, I try to eat small amounts throughout the day, but there's times where I don't, because I don't feel hungry for it.
Yeah, it's like your body hasn't been triggered to, like, give me more, give me more. It's like, oh, thank you.
That's enough.
It just says thank
That's
you.
enough.
and yeah.
I can deal with that. I can use it, utilize it, use the energy from it, keep functioning,
Yeah.
and I'll let you know when I need more.
Yeah.
There are some diets out there that are based on that. Just eat when you're hungry.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was the third part in our sugar series. I have really enjoyed it so far. Thank you so much for bringing in all this crucial information that I needed to learn, and I'm sure so many of our listeners have gotten a lot out of. So if you did learn something and you wanted to share it with your friends and family, please do. Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Share it. We are dropping next Tuesday. We have another episode on sugar outside the body. So I'm really excited to learn
On
about
the
that too.
outside of the body.
On the outside of the body. Thank you. Thank you so
Outer
much.
body experience with sugar.
Yeah, had that too. All right. Anything else, guys?
Now I was just going to put a quick plug, too, for our new Instagram account that we have up, Ocean Bay Naturals. So check that out. If you have a podcast that you love, maybe tag it in there and what you learned from it. It'd be great to just keep sharing this podcast and get more people aware of the healthy lifestyle that you can have.
I love that. Yeah.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
Thanks,
All right.
Nikki.
Thanks, everybody. Have
See
a
you
great
guys.
week.
Yep.
Take care.
While we make every effort to broadcast correct information, we are still learning. We will double check all facts, but realize that medicine is a constantly changing science and art. One doctor may have a different way of doing things from another. We are simply presenting our views on how to live a healthy lifestyle that will be as evidence-based as possible. We welcome any comments, suggestions, or corrections of errors. We take no money from drug or device companies. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or others, including but not limited to patients that you are treating. Consult your own physician for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast. Under no circumstances shall Dr. Kel Fullerton or any guests or any contributors to the podcast or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Dr. Kel Fullerton be responsible for damages arising from use of this podcast. This blog should not be used in any legal capacity whatsoever, including but not limited to establishing standard of care in a legal sense or as a basis of expert witness testimony. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on this podcast. Our website, blog, and podcasts are all HIPAA compliant. While you may give your email address to subscribe to the website posts or to post information on the website blog, we will never share your email address or contact information with any third parties without your explicit permission. The contents of Health Talk with Dr. Kel podcast and the show notes are all copyrighted. All blog posts, podcasts, and show notes that are distributed to the public for free can be redistributed via hard copy or electronic copy for free only if Health Talk with Dr. Kel is included as the acknowledged author within the actual media that is being redistributed. The Health Talk with Dr. Kel podcast is a production of the Orange Stack, with executive producers Dr. Kel Fullerton and Eric Hammond and hosts Nikki Sterling.